Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Everything is Bad New Fangled Motion Picture Show.
That's right, folks. You heard correctly. It is time for another episode of the Everything is Bad New Fangled Motion Picture Show. I'm your host, Niall.
And I'm Nolan.
And today we're going to be reviewing the James Gunn, We Need You Not Part of Disney while we have this sale worked out with Fox project, which is The Suicide Squad. Not to be confused with Suicide Squad.
Right. This is a sequel / soft reboot, I guess.
Yeah, so before we get too crazy into it, we are going to do a spoiler-free review, because there is a bit of a spoiler in this movie. And then we'll give you a spoiler warning to let you know that everything after that point will be spoiler,
Filled with spoilers.
Well, I mean, free game on spoilers.
Yeah.
I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Anyway.
More spoilers than a drag race and...
Anyway.
I was going to go somewhere with that. But...
So, yeah, so this is the movie that James Gunn kept himself busy with while he was removed, supposedly, from a job at Disney that just happened to be when they were working out this deal to acquire Fox. James Gunn has a storied past when it comes to his social media and stuff. So
he made some bad jokes.
Look, it was the early 2000s. James Gunn got to start making trauma films. All right, is what it is. It was a different place. It was the Wild West on the internet back then. But anyway, so the Suicide Squad. It is a sequel to Suicide Squad. It's not this isn't a spoiler because it's in the trailer, but Captain Boomerang is somehow back.
They don't explain it.
Yeah, so
you just accept it.
Yeah. But yeah, so unlike in Suicide Squad, James Gunn actually kind of went out of his way to really scrape the barrel of shitty Silver Age DC villains for this. Like the original Suicide Squad, other than Harley Quinn, it was a bunch of lesser known villains, but still ones you sort of recognized for the most part.
Right, but I mean, this has got Polka Dot Man.
It's got Polka Dot Man
and Peacemaker.
Peacemaker's
more recent than Silver Age, though, isn't he?
Yes, I think so. But it's got Mongal in it. I mean, it's just it's a who's who of DC characters you haven't heard of. Except I had heard of Polka Dot Man because, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Polka Dot Man. Oh, and it's also got King Shark in it.
It's got Calendar Man in
it. Okay. The Calendar Man is in the prison. He's not part of the squad.
No, but he's in the movie.
Which is funny, because that's right up there with Polka Dot Man. But yeah, so this movie is actually very entertaining. It's much better than the first one. Right now it's got a 7.6 as of recording on IMDb.
I think we went to see it. It was above an 8 when we went to see it that day.
I'd say high 7s is where it probably deserves to be. Because it's very comic book movie.
Yeah.
But it's just, I mean, it's a good cast. It's well written. It's funny. It doesn't take itself too seriously because Suicide Squad shouldn't.
It earns its R rating.
It does.
So just be warned, it's not a kids movie.
I think Idris Elba is a better lead for this kind of movie than Will Smith.
Yeah, and I feel like I've heard people talk about Will Smith, and so just say he's not known for wanting to share the limelight.
Right.
Idris Elba seems like more of a team player.
Yeah. And there's some really funny chemistry between Idris Elba, John Cena, and Joel Kinnaman in this movie. Like the three of them, the way they banter with each other and stuff, it's really entertaining. So, but yeah, it's, as far as I can tell, basically has no bearing on the rest of the DC movie franchise. Doesn't seem to in any way interact with those other movies. Although I pretty like it, it is in the DCEU, right?
I believe so.
Because it's got the same Harley Quinn, who we know her Joker is the Joker from Batman vs Superman, or was it, no, was he in one? He was in one of the, or no, they cut him out of Justice League, right?
Yeah.
Did they put him back in for the Snyder cut?
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm pretty sure that this is directly in that universe, but the events of it just seem to have no bearing on anything. But yeah, like the cast is great. I think everyone looks like they were probably having a fun time doing it. So yeah, definitely recommend checking that out. If you have, if you were wondering, because it's a comic book movie, whether or not kids should watch it, absolutely not. It definitely deserves. It's a hard R rating.
There's a lot of swearing, a lot of gore, and a little bit of nudity.
A little bit of peen.
Yeah, well, there's
a little bit of
both
peen.
sides.
There's a little bit of peen, and just like a flash of female nipple.
Yeah.
Oh, and just lots of gore and violence. Like, just like so much hardcore violence.
Yeah.
One dude gets ripped in half. Yeah. So, anyway, got anything else to add to that before we get into any sort of spoiler stuff?
Nah, I don't think so.
All right. So, henceforth, are spoilers. So, Nathan Fillion, man, TDK. Ooh, boy, that was something else.
Yeah, it doesn't last that long.
No, so yeah, it starts off with this squad of Savant.
It's like the disassembled kid, right? Or something like that?
Yeah, the disassembled kid, I think, yeah.
Yeah, because his like limbs come apart. And,
Yeah,
like,
so
float
it's
around.
TDK, Colonel Flag, Savant, Captain Boomerang, Javelin, Mongal, Blackguard, and Weasel.
Harley Quinn.
And Harley Quinn. Did I miss anyone from that squad?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so they're like land on this beach and just like all get wasted except for Flag and Harley. Harley Quinn gets captured and Flag escapes. But it's just so like comical because it's like all these like shitty C tier villains that you look at and you're like, how did these people go toe to toe with Batman and Superman and Shazam? Like, what is going on here?
Well, what's funny is like most of them, I don't think Waller really expected them to survive. Like, that's why they're the distraction.
Yeah, it's kind of shitty she sent Flag with him, though.
That's true. But they're a distraction for the other team. That's Bloodsport,
Peacemaker,
Polka Dot Man, and Ratcatcher 2.
and King Shark.
And they're the main crew on this. But then they wind up hooking up with Flag again and
Harley.
And going on the mission, which is to stop Project Starfish, which anyone who's like familiar enough with the DC universe means that's got to be Starro, and it is.
Yep. Yeah, and it's
Pretty horrifying, actually.
yeah, it really is.
Especially like there's this like one part where they're like someone tried to surgically remove the starfish from this guy, and it like the face underneath was just eaten.
Yeah. And it's got Peter Capaldi as Thinker, and he was great. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, like, this squad of villains, and it's like, well, I mean, Harley Quinn is a victim as much as anything. Like, I wouldn't say she's villainous. You know what I mean?
She's not good.
She's not good, but I don't think she's like a villain. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't have she doesn't have like grand plans of world domination or like to take over Gotham to kill the Batman or anything crazy like that. And then like Bloodsport is just a mercenary, and he's sort of being blackmailed into it using his daughter. Ratcatcher 2, also not a villain.
Well, she was arrested for trying to rob a bank, but since she had like super abilities and that she controls these rats, but it's through like mechanical means.
Yeah, she's got like this control wand.
She gets thrown in Belle Reve instead of like a normal prison.
And then like King Shark is just big and dumb in this. So I gotta admit, my only exposure to King Shark before this was the Harley Quinn cartoon. So I don't know how he is normally, but he's not an idiot in that show.
He's not an idiot normally.
Okay. Because, I mean, he was like show me the rabbits level of dumb in this movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
and it almost came to a similar end.
But yeah, so it's it's a fun movie. It's like really doesn't take itself seriously. Like I find that movies that are like outlandish, and superhero movies often are, they can have a hard time striking the balance between too ridiculous for the rest of the rules you've set up in this world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In this one, like going into it from the get-go, you're sort of told through visuals and dialogue, that this is a ridiculous situation. This is, like not to be taken seriously, sort of tongue in cheek. And it doesn't take it too far to the point where it's just like overly silly. But, it also is able to like stay fun throughout the whole thing, which is something DC movies have a hard time with so far.
Yeah.
Like the best we got was Aquaman so far as like trying to strike that balance between like lighthearted fun romp versus like serious action.
Yeah, well, my understanding is Warner Brothers decided to just step back and let Gunn do his thing for this with very little intervention.
James Gunn doesn't do what James Gunn does for James Gunn. James Gunn does what James Gunn because he is James Gunn.
But I think after like the first Suicide Squad, which had a lot of studio interference, and I don't know if that was for better or worse, because I don't know what the original piece was going to be like.
Yeah, the original Suicide Squad had a bunch of reshoots after Guardians of the Galaxy came out, right?
Yeah.
Which was very, like, that
or
was...
after Deadpool.
Was it? Oh, yeah, it was after Deadpool. Because they were like, oh, this movie... Because Deadpool was incredibly successful, especially considering how low budget it was. And, like, Deadpool is Deadpool, so, like, it's not serious. Everything is tongue-in-cheek. They're cracking jokes the whole time. And it earns a serious R rating. And it did extremely well. And so, apparently, as a result of Deadpool's success, they reshot a bunch of stuff in Suicide Squad, and it's like, what was the original, then? If you reshot stuff to mimic what Deadpool was, it tried to capture some of that.
So then that tells me that, because the stuff I liked best was the lighter stuff.
Yeah, like all the stuff at the beginning in the prison.
And when you think, the director was, what's this first, David Ayer, directed Fury. So if you think, and it's like Fury and The Last Watch, or
and End of Watch.
End of Watch?
That Michael Pena movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, End of Watch.
So if you look at those movies, and then you look at Suicide Squad, you figure, well, I feel like the more serious stuff must have been his input.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
But
you can't make a serious movie that has Captain Boomerang in it. It literally cannot happen.
Right. So it makes me figure that the studio intervention was funnier, lighthearted stuff, and that was a lot of the better stuff in that movie.
Yeah.
So it might have been worse if they hadn't, but on the other hand, it at least would have probably been tonally consistent, and that was one of the problems with the movie is it wasn't tonally consistent.
Yeah, you're like, I can't tell if I'm supposed to give a shit that these people are dying, or if I'm supposed to be laughing throughout this movie, or what.
Yeah.
It felt really weird. Also, that whole sequence in the middle that felt shoehorned in with Harley Quinn's backstory with the Joker and the car crash and all that.
Yeah.
Or like the car driving scene. That was all super weird. And from what I understand, too, is with this movie, the only stipulation that the studio had towards James Gunn when he pitched them the idea for the movie is he had to incorporate Harley Quinn, and she had to get a certain amount of like solo screen time.
Which explains why she gets separated for as long as she does from the rest of the group.
Oh yeah, she doesn't meet up with them until the last act.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it manages to like weave it all together in a successful way.
Yeah.
I think. I do. You got the usual cast of people that you see involved with James Gunn, like Michael Rooker
And Sean Gunn. And Nathan Fillion.
Yeah. And apparently now Sylvester Stallone. So, but yeah, I mean, I had fun with it. It's a very James Gunn movie. But I guess his next project is Guardians 3, from what I understand.
Well, good. So maybe he'll just like bounce back and forth between Marvel and DC for a while.
So there's like rumor of Peacemaker getting his own thing, whether it's a movie or a show on HBO Max or what, I don't know. But he definitely stole the show in a lot of ways in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, John Cena is just a very charismatic, larger than life person.
Right.
So, and that
larger than most people.
That's true. But he in this he like that post credit scene felt sort of shoehorned in.
Like at the last minute, like, oh, let's throw this in, so
right, because it like felt very much like, okay, he's dead. That's it.
Yeah.
You know.
And but then, they could have, after they showed the movie to test audiences, or after the studio saw it and they realized that he's popular or would be popular, you know, maybe they decided, like, all right, well, let's go ahead and greenlight this Peacemaker thing.
Right. So, I mean, if they come up with a Peacemaker show on HBO Max, I'll pay for HBO Max when that comes out.
Yeah.
Yep. So anyway, but I think it's probably all we really have to say on the Suicide Squad.
Right. Not
to be confused with Suicide Squad.
I do believe we reviewed that if you want to go watch that.
Yeah, pretty sure we did. So the next movie we're going to see is Free Guy, starring Ryan Reynolds. That's finally coming out. That one was one of the big victims of like constantly getting pushed back for COVID. So that's finally going to be released. What else we got, Nolan? Protege. That's the other thing this month. And then next month we finally get Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings.
That's one for each finger.
It's supposed to be, but the rings apparently are something very different in the movies than they are in the comics. Because remember, like people were pointing out that Ben Kingsley was wearing 10 rings in Iron Man 3.
Yeah.
And like the terrorists that captured Tony in Iron Man 1, they had their banner behind them was the 10 rings symbol, but with like cross scimitars or something in the middle. Do you remember that?
No. I remember the rings in Ben Kingsley. I don't remember in Iron Man
Yeah.
Like I remember the movie. I remember that guy, but I don't remember the symbol. No.
Yeah. So and then there was reference to that symbol. Oh, one of the Hydra agents has it tattooed on his neck in Winter Soldier, I think.
Okay.
Something like that. But anyway, so it's something they've been kind of hinting at for a while. I'm excited. It just looks like a cool like kung fu action movie, if nothing else. But then yeah, we got Venom: Let There Be Carnage next month as well. I'm not like we're gonna go see that, but like I kind of don't care.
Yeah. Kind of the same way. Like the first Venom movie was surprisingly decent,
Yeah.
but at the same time I was just like, all right. I mean, that was better than I expected, but I don't care.
Dude, the Addams Family 2 and Hotel Transylvania 2 are coming out on the same day.
Oh man.
You don't think there's a bit of a crossover audience there, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, but we've got October, we finally get No Time to Die. Finally get Dune. Holy crap. You excited? Is that the movie you're most excited for this year?
Absolutely.
Has that been the movie you've been most excited for since the beginning of the year?
Yes.
Yeah. You're more excited for Dune than for Spider-Man?
Yes.
You're more excited for Dune than what's the other Marvel movie coming out this year? Spider-Man, ShangChi. What's the one in the middle? There were 4, right?
I don't know. Is there another one?
I thought there was 4. Maybe I'm wrong.
Are you thinking of Black Widow?
I guess. Could have sworn that there was. Oh, Eternals.
Oh yeah.
Eternals. That's it.
Yeah,
That's in November.
I forgot about that because I was like not excited about it. I forgot. About
Yeah,
it.
I kind of don't give a shit about that either. But we're gonna go see it. But anyway, but also in October is this Ron's Gone Wrong, which is like this kids animated movie from I don't even know who's making this movie. Do you recall?
No.
But it's interesting. Like it's got some like lighthearted delivered, but some like serious sort of cyberpunk like topics going on here, as far as like at what point is an AI considered human and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think it looks pretty cool, and like I eat that stuff up. So I'm definitely gonna go see that. Got Zach Galifianakis in it, and Ed Helms. So But yeah, so that's what we got coming up. So if any of that sounds of interest to you, come back and check that out as those movies come out. Also, go check out our review of Suicide Squad. I guess if you
compare Suicide Squads.
We did review that, right? Did you confirm it?
I didn't confirm it.
I don't remember when things came out, so
Neither. Well, I just feel like we did it. I don't know what to.
We've been doing this for a while, but it's hard to remember if something came out before or after Alien Covenant.
Yeah, because that was our first.
Yep. Yeah, man. God, we've been doing this for a while, huh? Well, I'm gonna look this up. Oh man, a quick search for suicide on our channel doesn't bring it up.
I guess we didn't.
So don't go watch a review of the Suicide Squad. Guess we didn't review it.
Yeah, it's hard to remember.
Yeah.
Everything we've done.
Yeah, it definitely is. So, and yeah. Anything else?
No.
That it for you?
No,
All right,
that's
cool.
it.
So until next time, thanks for listening.
Bye.
Toodles.